Hi, it's Morag from York Professional Pet Sitting and Dog Walking, and I'm here with Kaylan from Wag A While Doggie Daycare on Stephen Court, and also a registered vet tech. So the perfect person to talk to us about fleas and ticks. But first, we're going to talk about masks. Um, Masks are everywhere, every color, every size, every shape. And we don't know quite when things fully open up again what protocol is going to be like. If Kaylan, you don't know if all your staff is going to have to wear them or just have to have them on hand. I don't know what it's going to be for our business, but I observed something the other day that gave me concern about the dogs in our life. I was watching a dog walk by on the sidewalk who I see every day, several times a day, big fluffy guy. And he's a rock solid dog. He's, your dream walker, and the garbage truck goes by and he just keeps trucking along no matter what happens, bicycles, skateboards. And someone went by on the weekend and they had a mask on, and even though they went around them, the dog was lunging and barking and he was losing his mind. And I've never seen this dog do this before, and I'm sure it was the mask. And so I see it as something we need to be aware of, and something we need to start desensitizing our dogs to now. And turn it over to you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely completely agree. This is going to be a way of life, whether it's for the short term, the long term, or whether or not we have an intermittent period where, we're without it, and then we may have to, if we have another phase of this, have to go back to it. But the bottom line is, we know what they are and they don't scare us. But just similar to Halloween masks and things like that, what scares your kid, this mask is scaring some of the dogs. So I think we really do, as you said, need to desensitize. Most of us have a mask at home. It's okay to put that mask on and, call over your dog and give them a treat, or just have it, sitting on the coffee table so they can give it a sniff and make sure that that thing's okay. And, it's really just rewarding them for them seeing other family members with it on, so that when you go out, it's a norm. It's no different than the guy who's wearing a hat, or whether or not there's a skateboard outside. A mask needs to be something that we are teaching them is safe. It is normal. It is nothing to be afraid of. We certainly don't want dogs lunging and everything else, and then having a whole other chaos going on. So, but in all fairness, if they haven't seen them before, it's new. Mm-hmm. And, no different than a Halloween mask is to a kid. Somebody's face is half covered up. So I think that, rewarding them for you having it on and them coming to you and it being okay, I think will go a long way.
Yep. And start them off slowly. Don't overwhelm them. And as you said, put it on mom, put it on dad, put it on the kids, have it laying out, sticking out your pocket, hanging around your neck. And most of us have the blue kind of disposable ones, but nowadays you can get them with patterns and black, and they cover more and less. And so just expose them to as much as possible, even if it's just wrapping a scarf around, your neck, so that they get used to seeing
just eyes kind of thing.
Yeah. And the odd thing too is that they read facial expressions too. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So you're going to have to smile, you're going to have to emote in other ways, and treats always work too.
No, absolutely. I think they're quick learners. Mm-hmm. And the important thing is, nipping it in the bud. So hopefully you deal with it before it's a problem, or before the dog's already, freaking out about it. So if we're proactive, and I think we can be, then we don't need to be reactive later on about it.
Right. I agree. So get your dog used to masks.
Yes. They're here for a while.
Yes, unfortunately, but the new normal. So the next thing is fleas and ticks, and that's kind of where you are our resident expert, being a registered vet tech. But I can tell you for sure that clients of ours in their own backyard, two Goldens, just out in the backyard for a pee, came in with a tick on them. So they're out there, they're not going anywhere. Even before all this started, for the powers that be predicted this was going to be a bad year for ticks. I don't know how they know that, but
Yeah.
you know, with this going on and less human traffic around, I figure it's giving them more of a chance to.
Just keep growing. All
Yeah,
we need, I always say for those ticks, all we need is 4 degrees, and they're
yes.
out. So they are out, and they are here to stay.
Mhm.
And you know, no different than fleas. They're here. They're here to stay. Mosquitoes are here. They're here to stay. And we still have to be dealing with those things even during COVID. Um, we still need to look at prevention rather than having to deal with it after the fact. I mean, not only do you not want your dog to get, you know, Lyme's disease or fleas and have to deal with it, or get heartworm disease. I mean, those things are bad enough physically, but then there's that financial ramifications, which are, triple or quadruple what it's going to do to your pocketbook if you get a problem.
Yeah.
So,
So you're
definitely
saying
work on it.
the cure is less expensive, or the
The prevention is less.
prevention is less expensive than the cure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down. And I realize at this time, especially with people not having their jobs and things like that, that is going to be a challenge. And, you do have to weigh, do I put food on the table, or does my dog get his prevention? And you know what? Food on the table, is the way to go. But I think that, for the most part, if you can, it's really important to get that, especially that flea and tick medication going. And that starts now. Actually, I think heartworm, we used to say June to November, but we're actually starting in April with our fleas and ticks. So, I mean, as soon as you hit warmer weather, it really is quite critical.
And so the heartworm testing, I know that you had mentioned before that sometimes if you've been regular with the heartworm testing for your dog's lifespan, you might be able to skip a year for that and still
Yeah.
be able to get.
In light of sort of the COVID situation, the number of dogs that go in and have heartworm tests over a 2-month period is just absolutely astronomical. So a lot of times we're seeing the tech's just pulling blood, sending home medications, and we're kind of doing that kind of thing. And we're not vet clinics, pardon me, aren't able to continue doing all of that. So if you've been keeping up to date, obviously checking with your vet, because your vet's going to be the best person for that, and they're going to give you the best advice and what their policies are. But for the most part, if you've been doing your heartworm testing every year, you can probably skip this 1 year and get back to heartworm testing next year. It is critical to heartworm test. I don't want to poo-poo that by any stretch of the imagination. If your dog gets heartworm, not only could it kill them, treatment could kill them. Treatment is, extremely expensive. So, it's not something to sort of take lightly. But by not doing it this 1 year in light of a pandemic, I think it's more critical that we get them on prevention.
Yeah, I agree. And also, even with the prevention, I always recommend still giving your dog a once over when they come inside, seeing if you can, give them that little massage that they love so much. If you feel anything odd, separate the hair, see what's under there. Try
Yeah,
and,
between the toes.
yeah,
Those are some of the classic spots, right?
the ears. I saw one with it in the gum line actually, which was really weird. But the ears, especially if they're the floppy-eared dogs, on the belly where the belly, might rub against the grass. But I suggest, even if you're not going for a walk, I mean, protocol used to be come back from a walk and go over your dog. But when I heard about these in their own backyard, it was just
Yeah.
okay, just when you come inside now. I mean, Lyme disease is absolutely horrible. A client of ours, her and her dog got it. And she said she'd never been so sick in her life, and her dog is on medication for life.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know this, and we didn't discuss this beforehand, so let's see where this goes. But do you happen to know, and I'm sure it would depend on the company you're dealing with, but if someone has pet insurance and their dog is not on treatment or has not been heartworm tested, I'm assuming the insurance wouldn't cover if
You know,
the
and I don't know that definitively,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
neither do I. Just
But I would probably agree to some thing is that, we are required sort of as owners, if you're having pet insurance, we're generally doing preventative type measures in doing that. And so I kind of find it unlikely that some insurance companies would actually say, sure, don't worry about it. We'll just pay for that heartworm thing that could be thousands of dollars,
yeah.
when prevention itself could have been a lot less.
I guess the point of this conversation is if for some reason, financial or otherwise, you're choosing not to
Mhm.
do the prevention, check with your pet insurance company and
It's a great
see
idea.
how that would affect your
And it can
policy.
depend on, not only the insurance company, but, they're varied. You can have, how many different policies
Yes.
that you can buy your basic all the way up to your, it doesn't matter what happens, we cover everything. So, that's something to look at, not just the company, but, your specific policies that you're actually purchasing.
Yeah,
So a lot
exactly.
of research, I always say, when you're doing insurance, but I am a huge advocate for, especially when you got younger dogs, to have insurance. And things happen. So
Yeah. So get your flea and tick prevention. And the other thing is, if your dog does either normally go to a doggy daycare or it's something you're considering for your puppy to get socialized with other dogs, is talk to Kaylan or any of the owners and see what their requirements are. Quite often they're different from our requirements because we're just doing the one-on-one neighborhood walks. And so our requirements, because there's no interaction with other dogs, are different than yours. So you would want to check and see what the
yeah,
rules are, right?
yeah. Every doggy daycare may be different, but generally, protocol would be that they must really be on a flea prevention. We don't want fleas coming into the daycare and sending anything home. No one wants fleas. Same thing. Checking with your groomers. What their protocols are as well, because if you take your dog in and it's got a whole bunch of fleas, your groomer has, not only does it have to use maybe a special shampoo and whatever, but they're actually having to treat their entire room or facility, because fleas like to jump,
Mhm.
and that's sort of their thing, and you want to make sure that you're not spreading that to your next client.
Oh,
So yeah.
nothing would annoy you more than your dog going in without fleas and
Yeah.
coming out with
Yeah.
fleas. Not
For sure.
fun. Okay, is there anything else you wanted to add to the mass or the flea and tick medication?
Um, no, I just think, if we're talking about fleas and ticks, I mean, best thing to do is to call your vet. Sometimes they're obviously really busy, so right now, even talking to a vet tech if they're available, if you've got some more detailed questions, or their front office staff is actually extremely well educated, at least on what the preventions are and what they have to offer, because there are varied things that are available out there that may or may not be more economical in this time, because finances are what they are in a pandemic. So there's definitely things to look at there, but contacting your vet, finding out, and having them sort of answer those questions, which they know your pet best.
Yeah. The other thing, I just thought a client asked me the other day, and what ended up working for her financially because she had lost her job was, instead of doing the 6 months at a time, just buying 1 month at a time.
Yep.
Like she's hoping she'll be back, in a couple of months. But in the meantime, the once a month, instead of buying the big 6-month pack is much
Yeah,
more
if you can't
affordable.
afford doing it the 6 months, just make sure that you're getting it done every 30 days. So you go and you buy it. I don't know if some vets there's a little premium because you're kind of breaking up a package and how they do it, but times are a little different than when I was actually working in practice. But it's definitely more important that they get it, and then as you said, you sort of work it over the long haul. When you get back to work, you can maybe pick up the rest of the supplies you need. So.
But we have some amazing vets in this area. I'm sure they've all got everything worked out, and you just need to have to call your favorite person and find out what's going on.
Yes, we're very lucky. Wonderful, wonderful vets locally.
We are. And doggy daycares and dog walking companies. Yeah, we have an awesome pet community here. I
We
think.
really do. I think everybody, I think most people do know that at Newmarket, rural areas, we're just absolutely truly wonderful people, and they certainly do love their pets.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure other stuff's going to come up before everything opens up again, then we can chat again.
That sounds good. Wonderful. Well, you take care.
You too.
Thanks.